Hi, it's Pete Cohen, and welcome to the My 365 podcast series, episode 128. And this is our member of the month. Every month, we identify one of our My 365 elite members, and we look for people who are doing some pretty extraordinary things. And our member of the month for March is a gentleman called Mr. Jim Morgan, and he has really turned his life around. And in the podcast, you're going to see exactly what he did. What was his tipping point? What was that lowest point that he had that gave him the inspiration to move forwards in his life? So get ready for an amazing story. Episode 128, member of the month, Mr. Jim Morgan. This is Member of the Month, and our Member of the Month this month is the amazing Jim Morgan. Jim, how are you?
Very well.
Good to see you.
You too.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
How do you feel about being the My 365 Member of the month of March?
I feel very, very happy, and I feel ready for it as well, because
yes,
there is a part of me when you asked me before, which was a few months ago,
yes,
that I wasn't ready. I didn't feel that I was in the right place, and also didn't feel that I'd done enough.
Yes.
To be the member of the month.
Just so everyone knows, I don't know, it was maybe 5-6 months ago, I contacted Jim and said, Jim, we want you to be member of the month. And he said, I don't want to be. No, it wasn't that. It was just, as you said, you didn't feel...
I didn't know why. I didn't know why I had. And also I felt I had a lot more to do.
Yes.
And it was a kind of like, I'm not ready to accept this yet. I want to really prove myself.
Yes.
But I also had this feeling of, why me? There are so many other people out there. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's something maybe that we can look at. But why now do you feel like you deserve it?
Now is because I feel very much confident in what I've done and where I'm at. I feel I've been on a journey, and that at that time I probably felt I was trying. And now I just feel, okay, just relax. And I just feel that I've come to a point where it felt right.
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit about what you've achieved, first of all, since you've been a My 365 Elite member.
There are many things. It's very hard to put that in a short few words, but I think for me, the biggest thing that I've got is inner confidence. Just generally, even talking here now was something that when I walked in, I was just confident. And I feel so much more confident in myself.
Yeah.
Accepting myself for who I am. There's something that I've gone on a big journey over the last 6 months about, me as I'm calling it a hummingbird, but someone who loves to do, really curious about lots of different things, always doing lots of different things. Before that, I was kind of struggling with that. Who am I? What am I doing? And I just kind of feel a lot more relaxed in all of that.
Yeah.
And I think that I just get that sort of calmness more inside me, that everything's okay, that I'm okay, and that I just think that I feel happier where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely always the challenge of putting this stuff into words, right? It is quite challenging it's like when you've had a great experience and someone says, well, what was it like? And you talk about it, but it doesn't really do it justice because that person wasn't there, and it's beyond words. I think what you've really achieved is beyond words, because it's life, right? Mm-hmm. So is it that you found kind of your purpose in life? You found more meaning in your life? What is it that you've actually kind of found?
I think the biggest thing for me was letting go of fear, and that was around not having a family, around also mental health, and just letting go of that. And to do that, I just embraced getting uncomfortable and trying to do as many things as I could that got me uncomfortable, and just started saying yes to more things.
Yeah.
And that led to more adventure. And I remember vividly when you were talking about what makes you come alive, what is wildly important to you. And I just spent time really thinking about that. And it is being outdoors in nature. It is being wild myself. But also I really recognise it's without being a father and having family, I realised that I had a lot of love inside me and a lot of compassion to give. And it's how that is now coming out and what I'm doing with that I think has helped as well.
That's really, really profound.
But I really do think that, it's letting go of what other people think of you. Yeah. I used to have this sort of should I be, should I not, doing all the videos that we do every week. That really, significantly impacts on me. You're being as courageous as you can every week. And that was not only with My 365, but it was also going and meeting people, just throwing myself into things and seeing where it went. And whether it was with nature connection programs, or whether it was with mental health programs, or whether it is volunteering for these care farms, it just started to roll. And adventure as well is a big part of what I'm passionate about. And I remember one of the first times I met you said, what do you want to do? And I said, to go on a big adventure. But I have been inspired by other adventurers and inspired by other communities.
Yeah.
And it's the communities as well that I've also got a huge amount from someone who suffered from, and still do to some degree, but I'm a lot better, but mental health. I had Crohn's, I had a lot of stuff and viral problems. But I started to say no to a lot of things and bail out of a lot of things and not step out and into it. And I think that kind of, to turning that on its head is what really helped me, and starting to have communities around me that are all supportive. And I think that I'm a big fan of this kind of supportive community as well.
Yeah.
And being outdoors, because I think for your well-being, nature and being not just outdoors, but also really connected to nature has had a massive impact on me. So it's a kind of a snowball effect that, and with all of that, my confidence has grown. Yeah. I'm still working on it every day. There are still times where I take a step back and feel myself, I should have stepped up there. I should have said something there. I should have gone for that. And that happens still every day to me. I still clock when that's happening, yes. But I'm aware of when it's happening.
Well, one of the things we were talking about the other day on the broadcast was this kind of concept of first base and going past first base, going to a place that if you then go forwards from that, when you go back, which we all do in life,
yeah.
You never go back to exactly where you were before because you've come so far.
Yeah.
And obviously I've watched you and I've seen your journey kind of manifest, your adventure. And the way I look at it, Jim, is like you've lost this weight that you were carrying around with you. And I don't mean physical weight.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you have lost weight as well, but
yeah.
It's something you were carrying with you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think everyone carries with them things they don't need.
Yeah.
But it seems like you're so much lighter because you've let go of that.
Yeah, I think I still grapple with that, but I'm clear of what that is. And it's a really hard balance. And that is, what is it you want to do in this world? What is it you want to achieve in this world? And especially if you don't have family, because that was what I held on to. My biggest fear was living my life without love and a family in my life. So and that's what I held on. When I let go of that, it was like, okay, now what am I going to do?
Yeah.
What is it? What is it I'm here to? But I was still holding on to that as something that I needed to do.
Yes.
So it was driving me. So this kind of thinking, you sometimes say, dream big.
Yeah.
But my dreams were just too big, and it was all enveloping me. So that kind of breaking it back down to just saying, okay, you're fine how you are. Just get out and just enjoy life. Just enjoy for every moment. Let go of all of that.
Yeah.
And just what makes you come alive. And for me, what made me come alive was just being out in nature, swimming in nature, walking in nature, being with people. We talked about values the other day. Mine is curiosity and seeing the beauty of things. And, I love, I love just light and colour and nature. And it's the small things that I really appreciate. I think just really embracing that and leading to meeting lots of wonderful people just meant that I started coming alive with this whole thing. And adventure, nature connection, working this whole field is where I'm going and have been. And it's evolving. And, I still grapple with this sort of, I want to do lots of things, but I'm also saying it's fine. Just keep doing what you're doing. You don't have to grapple with that.
So let's you were just talking about the values, the strength and character finder, and that's the work of Martin Seligman. We'll put a note to that for those of you that want to go through that questionnaire, and it's amazing. I'm not a big fan of anyone telling me what my personality is like. I've always struggled with that, having even studied psychology.
One of the good things that helped me with understanding myself is this. It was that hummingbird, where it is okay to be curious and kind of like a hummingbird. It moves around from different things to different things. So I'm very creative. I'm an artist. I love passionate about outdoors. I love sport. When I look at my life, I see how I've got to where I've got to because of this curiosity for everything.
Yeah.
And people as well.
But when you become aware, this is one of the things I love saying, what do you stand for?
Yeah.
And stand for that every single day. I didn't know what I stood for.
Yeah.
I knew what I didn't stand for.
Yeah.
And that made life quite difficult. But when I finally became what I stand for, is fairness.
Yeah.
I stand for humor. I stand for kindness. I stand for curiosity. I stand for perspective, giving people a different perspective of things. And it's such a powerful thing. I would encourage everyone in the world. There's over 1 million people that have gone through that. And it's really powerful. It's telling you something that you already know. But when it kind of tells you that you stand for curiosity, the difference that must have made to you is, that's what I stand for. That's my most important value.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to be more curious than I've ever been in my life.
Exactly. I never would have thought that.
What does curiosity mean to you?
I think it's an awareness of your feelings, of your emotions, and the surrounding things, and the beauty in the surrounding things. So and gratitude as well. It's all that combined. It's just the interest in the world and how I am, and the reflection back from nature in that.
So let's go back. So when we look at, like, if the videos that you made going through one of the things we ask our members to do if they want to do it, as you know, is what you're learning, what you're achieving, what you're doing. And I definitely saw this journey that you went on, and sometimes you actually were quite emotional, which again isn't something that you see very often, and you definitely don't see many men being emotional. But you were just almost saying, like, this is me and I'm going on this journey, I'm not holding back here. Are you aware of the impact that that's had on other people? Have any other members, told you and said, Jim, I'm so inspired by you?
Well, I think everyone interacts a lot. It's such a big community that, and everyone's supportive in it. And so, you feel that inspiration back from people, and you feed off that, and you get inspired by what everyone else is doing. You do genuinely feel that back. And when we meet up at the summits, it's really interesting. Like, you talk about me as a man, and this is one thing that I'm really interested in at the moment and getting more involved in, is what is it to be a man in this world right now, and what is it that stops men from being totally comfortable with who they are. And it's no longer just a strong man, it's a man who has a lot of emotional intelligence, who's able to reflect, who's able to be compassionate, empathetic. All these elements, you need to try and grow all of those. And for me, it was, it was really letting go. It was really letting go of anything that you say about yourself or what you think other people are thinking about you. Yeah. And there was a point where someone said to me, everyone's too busy thinking about themselves to worry about you. And I went, that's such an incredible point. And,
yes.
and so from that point, I realized that I was very internal. If people said to me, how are you? I'd be like, I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm all right. Not bad. All those normal things.
But now.
Nothing came out. It was, and I'm getting better, but I also noticed some of the work I've done in some of the groups I've done with the Nature Connection, with the Rites of Passage. It's really, being open and vulnerable. And it's okay to do that. Sitting in a man's group and talking about things that never you would have dreamt of.
Yeah, because we just don't like to show our
it's also the thing that I'm interested in is going to your shadow, going to the areas that you are uncomfortable, that you've hidden away, the edge that you don't like to talk to people about. And that is where I'm kind of slowly going, because I find that's the most interesting part.
That's an adventure, right?
That's a massive adventure. It's an adventure for me, but it's also an adventure sharing it in a community with other people.
Yeah.
Because you learn off them as well. So, you're supporting each other to let go.
Yes. So let's talk about the elements. In fact, behind that camera there, you can see it. There's a picture of my coach, right, Raphael, who for 16 years, and he actually painted that picture on the right. You see that picture on the right?
Beautiful.
None of you can see that, but anyway, he worked with me for 16 years. He was a doctor of Western medicine, but he was from the Philippines, and he was into what he called energy medicine. And everything he did was about the 5 elements, what the Chinese call the 5 elements. Some people call it the 4 elements, but the 5 of air and metal, wood, fire, water, earth.
Yeah.
And what, I don't know, maybe I missed one out, but And he always said with the Chinese, when they cook, they always put the 5 elements in. It's not about carbohydrates, fats, proteins. It's about putting the different elements in food.
Yeah.
So all foods are colourful, or if you're cooking with a wooden instrument, you're putting the element of wood into it. But what I loved about what you just said there, as a kind of a long-winded way of coming to it, is the elements in nature. That's the only reason we're alive. You take one of those elements away, we're all gone. And then you said about the elements of being a man in a modern world, which I thought was really interesting. And if you put a man or anyone in the elements of nature, we all come alive in nature,
totally,
right? And
totally.
that's one of the reasons. What's that tree bathing in Japan?
Forest
bathing, where they put people in areas with lots of trees.
Yeah.
They get them to meditate, and it's those trees that emit something which seems to have a very positive effect on the body.
Yeah.
But and again, long-winded way of getting to what I was going to say. The elements. What do you think really are the key elements, especially for everyone? But let's talk about men, that they need to address in order for them. And you've touched on a couple of them already, I think. In order for men to be happy and to thrive.
Well, I definitely think it's feeling that you can be open and vulnerable, and it's okay to be open and vulnerable.
Yeah.
And there's nothing. In fact, it's encouraged. And I think the more that men are, the more support it would give to other people.
Yes.
To know that we are all struggling with this. We're all sort of holding stuff in.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a big part of it. Community, feeling you're supported. To do that, and there's no shame or regret or anything. Whatever emotion and feeling comes up, rather than hiding it away, you actually you sit with it, and you sit with whatever that feeling is.
So that's definitely one of the key elements for you. Is there any other elements?
Many. I think being aware of who you are more, being more reflective, and you can get a lot of that from being in nature, learning from nature, back from nature. Being more compassionate, listening to people, deeply listening to people, not just listening.
we know about,
and we don't.
But we know how men really struggle with that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely struggle.
generalisation.
I've always got things going on in my head, or I'm trying not to make judgments, but I do. Like, it's all these things around that, and it's just being really still with someone, and also being still with yourself. A lot of people are uncomfortable with just being still with themselves. In nature, but it's a very uncomfortable thing for a lot of people. They need to be doing things.
They need to be on their iPhone.
Or action. I mean, I love my sport and my adventure and doing stuff. So actually sitting and just observing or feeling, like, let's say, a flower or a tree for a longer period of time is something very unusual and comfortable for us, because we're left with only ourselves. And only that feeling that we're getting from that is a very interesting thing to experience. And you can either be uncomfortable.
It's about being alive, right? That's when we feel most alive, is when we're most there in the moment.
I think it's being more connected with your compassionate side, and also being more aware.
So so you've hit two big ones there. One is to be just open and honest with what comes up with emotion, allowing yourself to experience it rather than keeping it hidden.
And that's difficult to do. I mean, it's not something I've got the magic answer for.
It's something you've practiced, right?
I'm learning off people, and I'm also pushing myself to explore that.
I think one of the ways that you've definitely got better, and many of our members have, is this whole thing of, I'm getting better. I'm not where I want to be, and I don't think. Well, actually, it's a dichotomy. That is it, because we are where we are.
I don't think there's any getting better. I think this is one thing that I'm learning. And that's what you learn from nature. We are all perfect as we are.
Yeah.
And if you can just accept that's that struggle I have.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine. I'm fine how I am.
I think you're better than fine. But anyway, I get what you're saying.
It's that we're not better, and we need to get better.
Yeah. That's that whole thing of we're not complete, and we need something to be complete.
Totally.
So let's look at this concept, which I've loved to explore with people around, the duck in your head, right? So everyone's got a duck. We've kind of spoken about that a little bit, but well, let's touch on that. What were the sorts of things that you were saying in your head before?
That's a good question. Well, Well, I had a period of, mental health problems, and that stopped my head talking with my mouth. And there was a period of time that I stopped talking. So me talking now and generally talking up, having the confidence to talk up is a massive thing for me. And I know how far I've come in 10 years.
So what sort of things were you saying inside your head?
It was just beating myself up. It was this kind of unconfident about should I, that kind of like
Quite constant questioning.
just really hesitant, just really uncomfortable. I remember sat down with a friend and we're both unconfident people. I just said, we've got to sort this out. Like we can't keep on being, and it's that really timid. I also struggled with viral problems as well in my mouth and nose, and so breathing was really bad. And I just got very disconnected with, talking and any other senses other than just trying to get through it and coming out and recovering and going back in and coming out. And so my thought process was, what I thought in my mind was just very unfulfilled. Very critical, self-critical, and that came out as a frustrated person, as I wouldn't say angry, but someone who was short-tempered, just there was no joy left in me.
And what a change, right? I mean, because now, what's it like being Jim Morgan today?
Wow. Today, I think I'm very excited about what's happening. I can see things, I'm calling it, I love lighting people's fires. And that's how I see it, kindling fires, setting off little fires, both inside me and with other people. And so I'm very excited in my work that I'm growing into with Nature Connection. And that's with mental health, with all different programs. I also want to do more mentoring and coaching with people and in groups, ideally outdoors, and I'm heading training in that direction. And I'm very passionate about the environment and nature, and particularly conservation. And my adventures, I want to explore that.
So let's move the conversation on. So again, we've spoken about the duck. But you probably heard me speaking a few weeks ago about the word genius and where that comes from. It comes from the Romans, who believed everyone was born with a genius, this little voice inside them that would guide them in the direction that they wanted to go. But most of us, as we got older, we've stopped listening to the genius in us. We listen to the duck. Everyone has one. You'll never get rid of it. In fact, when this goes out, I think the following week we're interviewing her tomorrow, Sally Gunnell. And wow. she talked about the voice in her head, and Usain Bolt talked about every year he'd question himself. You're always going to have that, but you seem to have really got in contact with the genius in you because you've really found what comes alive. Do you is that true? And do you think that that's what we should all be kind of looking to connect to? What makes us come alive?
That's a good question. I think I struggled a year ago saying, okay, what's your passion and your purpose? Yeah. And what are you going to do now in your life? And I remember grappling with that. And so breaking it down into just get more out there and do things that literally just bring joy to you was a good way for me out of that situation, and has without doubt helped me. And that's connected me with lots of different things and lots of different, sort of adventures, projects, programs. And that's kind of helped me on my journey.
Okay,
finding that genie, I'm not sure what that genie is, and I'm still, I don't know what that is, but all I know is, I guess, what I've been doing on the journey I've been on.
So you were like, wanting things to happen, right? Let's tell me this story.
There's a drive, and there's still a drive inside me, and to do things, to make a difference, to have an impact. And I know before we started here, you said, "What are you doing?" And I smile because I have got loads of ideas, but I'm balancing out between, okay, just be present and comfortable and happy with where you are at the moment. And that struggle of drive of trying to do stuff takes me away from just being present with now.
Yeah.
And so it's getting that balance right. And I don't always have that. And I'm constantly procrastinating because I'm great at that. I'm a perfectionist because I'm great at that. And it's learning more about all of those areas. What is it? And I think a lot of it's to do with my ego.
Yeah.
Which I never thought in a million years, because I never thought of myself as a
egotistical person.
Yeah, but I now see, and I'm learning a lot about taking that more into like the nature and the eco side of things, and just giving. I'm a giving person. I get a lot of joy, and have done with these programs that I've been working on over the last year. It's just being with people and helping and supporting and mentoring or just being there.
Yeah.
I learn a lot from Hannah, because
That's my wife.
She's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And yet she's incredible woman, bringing this all alive. And I learned a lot from that, saying it's not necessarily about what I want to do. It's also about what I can give in communities.
Yeah.
And that also was a massive learning point for me. It is, you can just be, I love this community idea, and I think we've lost it in our world, in our society.
We're doing something about that.
We are here in My 365, and it's growing, but I'm very passionate about that.
Yeah, because we thrive in groups. Human beings don't do very well on their own.
No. And I spent a long while on my own.
And there's another element, right? I was interrupting you like a typical man. Another element that men need to do, which is to realise to ask for help. Men don't even like asking for directions.
Yeah, totally.
So let's look at My 365, because it sounds like also you love growing, you love connecting, to going to work on yourself. Now, right now I'm going to work on myself. So I'd love to know about some of the rituals that you have. But I also love to know what has been a part of My 365 and the daily coaching and some of the masterclasses. What has that actually done for you? What does that give you?
It gives me, you talked about the elements earlier on, about air and water, and I'm a very air person. I've got lots of things going on up in the air in my head, and that's the bird, the hummingbird going on. But it's a groundedness, it's a centered thing. It helps you center every day.
Yeah.
And it helps you at the end of the week reflect back on the week.
Yeah.
It helps me with the videos, which I love doing. I do as often as I can, is just being okay with being open and honest about where you're at, and just being confident, just saying, you know what, it's fine to just do a video, and it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whereas when I first started, it really mattered. I was petrified that, like, how I came across. And I don't get me wrong, I'm not a total natural, and I still have that thought going on, but I know it's a lot quieter now. And it's just like, okay, that's fine. I see that side of me thinking, worried about what other people think. And it's okay. I'm going to let that go.
You're just aware of it now, right?
Getting more aware of it.
Well, it's the whole balance. We're never balanced.
Yeah.
It's always balancing.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, about you, because I know that you're an adventurer, and we'll talk about that in a moment. That people like Charles Darwin, I didn't know too much about him, but through my own exploration, I didn't realise just how much work he actually did, and everything he logged. Everything, and for years and years and years, and that's all about mastery and getting better at something, and I think that's what you're doing. You're putting the work in, and I think we live in a world where a lot of people just don't like that. People think you're weird for meditating or getting up and going to work on yourself, but I've been studying success for years, and you look at people who are doing great things. Look at what they're doing when no one else is watching.
Yeah.
So. What are your rituals? Give me an idea of the things that are non-negotiables for you.
Definitely getting up, although I went away on this big adventure, and that took me a step back to get back on the circle. But getting up at 6, I do a juice, which is not just an ordinary juice. It's like a whole mixture of lots of nutrients, lots and lots of things for my Crohn's. I try and meditate for 10 minutes. I'm getting better at that. But it would be in the morning if I do it mostly. And I journal. A lot of the journaling is I'll be honest, notes that you talk about, I'm not so good at reflecting, but then I do reflect on my phone a lot, wherever I am, suddenly something comes to me.
Make notes.
And I make notes about what that was and how I felt about that. So, so it's something I need to get back to the journaling, but you know, exercise as well, making sure I do a fixed amount of gym work every week.
You have to do gym work.
Yeah.
Your name's Jim.
Yeah, exactly. And yoga, like, you know, if I can once a week. And, you know, just being out, for me, it's being out in nature. And it's, I'm very lucky I live not far from you, Ardingly Reservoir, literally. And it's a beautiful place. And I've got amazing wildlife around me, like badgers and wild rabbits and green woodpeckers and everything like that. So I'm very, very grateful for that. And just stepping out into that every morning is very, very nourishing for me. And so I spend 5-10 minutes doing that. And likewise, when I come back, looking at the stars, looking at the trees, I really, really, really appreciate it. And yeah, I just love it. And
so I want to talk about the adventure, but just tell us, what would you say to people out there that have kind of want to get involved with My365 Elite?
Well, I would say that, you know, this is a journey, and I think that, you know, without a doubt, go for it, because, you know, I know, and I think other people can see the massive, the feeling I have inside from working with you, Pete, and the community.
Yeah.
And you know that, and I think the community is massive. Like, you don't realise how much that support does for you. Just and they're just, you know, just learning off other people as well.
Yeah.
You know, that whole side of it is just, you know, it's invaluable. It really is. And, you know, I would say just give it, I mean, we all say, but give it a go. And it's something that I never used to do. I used to be very skeptical. And that was me stepping out of things, thinking I'm going to do it, and then going, oh, no, I'm not going to do it. And you know, and I've learned over the last years, just say, you know what, let's just try it. Just say yes.
Yeah.
Just go for it. What's the worst that can happen? And I always used to think, no, talk myself out of things. Brilliant at talking myself out of things. And this is my journey I've been on this year, is just saying...
And last year,
saying yes, going for things. And I remember before I joined up to My365, I had all these thoughts going on in my head.
But you'd also kind of dabbled into personal development, right? And it now seems like you've really committed to no, this is what I'm doing, this is a part of me, and you know, nothing's going to stop me from developing.
The personal development I did before was quite short, sharp, like weekends and programs, and I realised that it was something that I needed more every day in my life, but I hadn't quite, well, I'm not sure whether I was looking for it, but I knew that something needed to be more consistent, and that's when I met you and met My365, and I thought, wow, this is every day.
Well, you've become a great role model to so many other people, and I'm extremely grateful. But I want to finish up on a couple of things. So the first thing is, you wanted to do adventures, and you put that idea out there. Actually, as I'd mentioned to you before we went live about doing podcasts like this and bringing people in and taking the production to another level, I've been drawing this every day. Every day I draw two little people like this with a microphone every day, and I draw on a little mountain and going up, and this is one of the things, and it's just putting it in my head. Now I know you put in your head about adventures and you start doing a few things, but then tell us what then happened.
Well, I think you know, me as a boy and in my 20s, I was very adventurous. I loved adventure. I followed lots of adventurers and I was inspired by them. And before this, I was talking to you when I lived in Papua New Guinea for 2 months, as you do. When I was 18, I was fearless. I just loved, I was living in the moment. I didn't hesitate. I just went for things. And then as I got, you know, in my 30s and set up the business and blah, 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 I became a lot more hesitant and ill health and cautious.
Yeah.
And I just stopped being that person that's not, I wouldn't call it free-spirited, but I just courageous.
Yeah.
You know, and it's that courage that I think I lost. And so, you know, when you said what do you want to do, it was an adventure for me. It was getting out and having met these other people. I realised that was what was making me come alive. Listening to these other stories of these adventurers going off on their, you know, bikes or their canoes or their kayaks or walking the Munros of Scotland. It was just, you know, it really inspired me. And it was that what inspired me, that I thought, well, if that inspires me, I have to inspire myself. And at the beginning of last year, one of the things I said was, you know, I have to do a big adventure this year. This is what it is for me, to get really uncomfortable. And I thought, what could I do that makes me really uncomfortable? I didn't want to go to the end of the year and just do the same as what I did last year. And it was like, right, where can I go that's going to scare me, and how do I need to travel that I'm going to enjoy, but equally is pushing me to the edge of something that I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go with a group of people, although I love being with people. I felt like that this was a courageous thing. I needed to do it myself.
So what was it? So what happened? You won, right?
I won, yeah. So I cycled from it's down the Carretera Austral, which it starts in Chile. Well, it's all the way down Chile actually. It starts at Puerto Montt and it runs all the way down for about 1,200 kilometers, all the way through the wilderness of Chile and some parts of Argentina. And I cycled. I bought a bike at the beginning of my journey with my 365, and I've been going out for quite a few weekends for little cycle trails around Sussex and Surrey, and that was part of my journey. Every little cycle ride I went on, a little adventure around Sussex and Surrey, was my way of gaining more confidence. It was like, wow, I can just step out for a day and look what's happened. It's an incredible adventure.
Well, you definitely are oozing with passion and enthusiasm, and I'm definitely fired up from just being around you. And I know you've made a massive difference to so many other people, and I know that the best is yet to come, right? In terms of, you know, what you're going to do, because you're going to inspire more and more and more and more and more people. And I'm extremely grateful for you just going on a journey, coming on an adventure. So tell us, how do people get in contact with you? How do they follow you?
Well, people follow me either on Facebook, Jim Morgan, or with a website that I set up for my...
on here, right?
Yeah, it's called trailsofadventure.co.uk.
Go and follow Jim Morgan. Jim Morgan, congratulations for being the My365 Member of the Month.
Thank you very much, Pete.
I'm excited to see where your journey comes, where it goes. Yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. If you've enjoyed the podcast, leave us a comment, share it. Let's share his story with as many people as we possibly can, and wake up to the fact that our futures are unwritten and we do have incredible power to change. Take care, and we'll see you next time for another My365 podcast. Should we give a wave?
Yay!
Bye-bye.
Bye.